Hey, hello. It is Tammy with Cheers to Creativity, and we are here to spend a little bit of time with you on the Essential Stencil page, and hopefully on Cheers to Creativity as well, on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday evening. Let me just real quick find us on my iPad so I can make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be at the right time and all those other things. So there we go. I see that we're live. It says we're live. Doesn't show that I'm here, but there we go. Okay. Hey, if you happen to be watching us live, please let us know that you're here. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. All those fun things. And if you're catching us on replay, thank you for taking the time to watch us on replay as well. Okay. So we are going to do a project tonight that I've kind of set up ahead of time as a project for 4 seasons. And the really cool thing about Essential Stencil, especially when you're using their transfers, is it's really easy to do a project that you can transform into being more than just one. So before I get going, remember that tonight at the end of our live, there will be 3 winners of $20 gift cards. And the best way to be part of that giveaway is for you to be commenting and to be part of our conversation while we are doing this live. All right, I see us. Let's move this over. So oops, and look, remember that tonight, I need to move the volume. Oops. At the end of our live tonight, I will be going back and looking at our comments. So know that that is happening. And for right now, we're just going to get started. So I'm going to put you down and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Okay. This is a frame that I picked up at Dollar Tree, which is now the $1.50 tree or whatever. And I'm going to do several projects with this, and I'm going to use a bunch of different transfers. So one of the transfers I'm going to use is from the bundle that we have available, which is the Fright and Fall bundle. And so that's going to be our ghost transfers. So that's going to be one of the first ones I'm going to be doing. And then I'm going to be doing one part of this with the toy soldiers. I'm going to do another one from the All American Blossoms. And the other one is going to be done from the Blessed Spring or Blessed Easter transfers. Who knows? Can't remember. But here's what I've done. I've cut a bunch of stencils and I've cut my paper backs to go inside this frame. This is a 5x7 frame that if you take the backing off, and the frame I got from the Dollar Tree, I've just done these bits of watercolor paper that will fit inside the frames. That one had some other stuff on it. We'll do this way. To do different things on, okay? So we're going to set the frame aside. And I have this little lamb from the Blessed Spring or Blessed Easter stencil. I have a little bit of this toy soldier from those stencils that kind of represent Christmas. I have this little ghost and house and possibly the bat from our little ghost ones. And I have this one from the 4th of July Blossoms one. So there you go, right? And many of these could just go directly on the watercolor paper. That's all this is watercolor paper. Nothing fancy, just watercolor paper. If you don't have watercolor paper, you truly could just use cardstock or multimedia paper. It really wouldn't matter. And you just need to decide if you really want to have a background or not. So let's start with this one. This is the 4th of July one, or I can't remember the name of the actual transfer set, but that's great. And let's just go ahead and put a little bit of color on here. And maybe we'll do the backgrounds first and then come back and put the transfers on. That's kind of the idea. So I've just cut the watercolor. If you happen to see that I've done a little bit of an angle up here, it's just so it fits better in that frame. And so let's take a peek. We're going to start with this one. What might we need? We might need a little bit of a sky color, maybe something on our ground, but let's just think about a sky color to begin with. And I am just going to grab a little bit of baby blue, grab my plate. Again, this is just watercolor paper. So I'm going to start with this and a good size brush. I'm going to dip my brush into water, tap it off on a paper towel, pick up my light blue color, and I'm just going to wipe off whatever that was there. And I'm just going to come in here and just kind of lay in this skyish color. As I work my way down, as it gets a little lighter, it's okay, because I'm probably going to need a little bit of grounding underneath my flowers because they're in a vase. And this is all I'm going to do for this one, okay? We're going to set this aside, okay? So we're trying to do a 4-season or a several-seasoned gift. And I don't know about you, but most of the time when I'm dealing with gifts, I'm trying to keep it a little bit, reasonable to do. Let's do the next one, which I'm going to do this one, which is this little guy from the toy soldiers or the tin soldiers. And we're going to start with just putting, again, a little bit of this blue color in the background. I'm going to get a little lighter as it goes down to the bottom because we're going to add something else to it. But just for right now, to start with this background, we're going to give this just a background color. So we've got that little bit of a blue as well. I'm setting that off to the side. I'm going to decide what else I want to do as I look at my other pieces. I have this little lamb, kind of to represent spring. I seem to be missing a piece. Okay, we're missing a piece. We may need to get another piece to do this with. How is that possible? Anything's possible, I tell you. May only be 3. Let's go ahead and give us an idea of what we might want to do with this guy. This is our fall bit. So I'm going to start by dampening my whole piece. I could do this with water and a brush. I could spray this. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow. This just happens to be bright yellow. And I'm just going to make a bright yellow middle color, okay? And because I dampened that first, it could be pretty easy if I pick up another color. Right now, I'm just going to pick up let's pick up an orangey color. How about this is spiced pumpkin. And again, I'm just picking up a tiny bit of that color on my brush, and I'm just going to blend this because I can still blend into that yellow because my paper is wet. Just a touch more to blend. I'm going to pick up a little more of that same color and blend a little more down at the bottom. I'm going to rinse my brush. And just make sure that center is a nice, soft transition between the yellow and the oranges. And I'm guessing I need to plug in my phone, which I do, Please hold one quick second. Since I'm showing that I'm not. There we go. Let's try that. Let's try that. Sorry, guys. This is called real life craft. How about there? Can you hear me now? I hope you can hear me now. Gracious, who knows what happens when you lose some of your parts? Oh, gracious. Okay, I think we're okay. All right, I think we're okay. No sound? Let me know now, okay? I just changed it. And Barbara said she can't hear me. It's still muted. Yourself. I just changed it. I think we're okay.
Still no sound.
Muted. I just unmuted it. One sec. Yes, they can hear me.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Didn't miss anything. So just so you saw, we did again 2 backgrounds very similarly that we're going to do some transfers on. Thank you, Stephanie. We did this one that someone said looks a bit like a sunset. Okay. And we've got one more to do. And this is going to be for our sweet little lamb. So let's just add, let's think. The blue would work really well. Let's pull up a little bit of that blue again. This is just that baby blue. I've not even wet this. I'm just going to kind of come down a little bit here and here and here and here. And we will probably need to add a little bit of a bottom color to her, but we've got a basic color for it to dry before we add in our transfer, okay? So let's set that one aside as well. Let's make sure this is pretty clean. Are you okay? Brenda says we're okay. Sandra says she can't hear me. Yes, you can hear me. I think we're good. I think we are good. All right. Maybe a pause and a drink of water. Remember, I'm showing you ways that you can take something like a very simple frame. This is my frame. My frame came from that tree that used to be $1 that may or may not be anymore. I am going to go ahead and dry each of these just so I know they're good and dry, because when we're working with transfers, that is the most important thing, that whatever we are going to put them on is dry. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this one. Set it aside and dry one of this one. Make sure it's dry too. This is one that just had a little bit of blue. I think many of these would be absolutely fine to just put on just blank papers, but I think having a bit of a background really just helps your project stand out a little more. It is watercolor paper. You could also use multimedia paper just because it's thick. 1, 2, 3. I know we had 4. Where did the 4th one go? I've not gone anywhere, but I thought we had 4. If not, we will do 3. So here's one of the light blue ones. Oh, I know we had one more because we were today. So here's one of the light blue ones, and this is the one I'm just going to add this little lamb to. Okay. Ignore this. This was something that ended up on there that wasn't supposed to be. So I'm just going to land this little lammy on here. I'm going to lay it down. And whether you're using one of our transfer tools or just a popsicle stick or even your finger, it really doesn't matter. I'm grabbing one of our transfer tools, and this is this little lamb. There's something on here that shouldn't be. Just ignore that. I'm not sure how that got there, but that's okay. But this would be like if you were trying to do for Easter or spring with this little lamb. I'm going to see if I can start peeling this back. Always, always, always check your very edges, because your edges are what starts your transfer to let go. And so here we go. I love our little transfer tool because you can get underneath there to start things. Oops, hit a little bit. Lay that spit down. Oops, a little bit of that lamb top was right there. This lamb is from the Easter Blessings Transfers, and it is in stock right now. So if you don't have it, you can still pick it up. And there's so many cute transfers with it. If you see something that isn't adhering completely, you just lay it back down and adhere it some more. I must have laid something on top of this transfer from something else because it's stuck. Okay. There we basically have our sweet little lamb. I'm going to rub it down. See, 1, 2, 3. I still don't see the 4th card, but we're going to find it. So this is spring. So let's just grab a little bit of a green. I just picked up Hauser Green Medium, which is one of my very favorite greens. And I'm just going to pick up a little brush, maybe dab it into some water, just to lighten it a little bit. And I'm just going to think about making sure that this little lamb is in some grass underneath her. We'll add a little more water to my paint to just make that spread a little more. Instead, I put it back behind my computer. There's 1, 2, 3. There's be one more. You know what? Light is interesting always. I'm going to rinse this out. And what I'm going to do is grab a tiny brush. This could be a detail brush, whatever you like to use. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of this green. And I'm just going to pull up some ideas of some grasses. And just before we even go on beyond here, if I was just going to do this guy, let's just look. We would put the glass in that frame, we'd set the frame right there, and she would be adorable. Just adorable. So that could be one of our 4 seasons that we have 3 of right now. It's okay. It's all good. Let's go ahead and use this one for our ghost that I'm not even sure I brought out. Here she is. So I think we wanted to do the house. Here it is. we're going to put this little house in the ghost, okay? So let's find us a scissors because we need to cut this apart. We don't need the bat over off to the side. I'm going to use the ghost right about there to show up in this house. You lose the things in front of your face. Thank you. I feel much better. Just, you know what? It's life. Here we go. We're going to set this down right here. I'm going to lay this down. First, I'm just going to use it with my fingers, and then I'm going to use the tool. I may have been off a little bit when I set it down, but that's okay. We just, you go with what happens sometimes. So let's get these all adhered on. This is our haunted house that we want to adhere onto a little more of an orangey sky background. Look how nice that's coming out. I've got a little bit that's going off to the side. It's okay. It just won't have a home when we're all done. I'm going to start peeling this off. Look at that lovely little house. And if you have something that isn't like this little orange part of that flower didn't adhere, you lay it back down and you do it again. It's why we want to make sure whatever we are adhering this to is dry. That really helps us with making sure our transfers are going to be very, very, got something right here that's not adhering. Oh, it's right here. This little tiny leaf off to the side. So you just lay it back down and then voila, there it is. So I've laid this off. Yes, I do have a little bit coming off to the sides, but it's okay. And now I'm just going to grab a nice grayish, so I'll just pick a little black and white to come up with the gray. So here's a little bit of black. Here's a little bit of white. Hey guys, remember at the end of our live, Essential Stencil is going to be giving away 3 $20 gift cards. How fun is that? So make sure you're commenting and all. So I just made a gray with my black and my white. I'm tapping it off on my page up to the side. And I'm just going to kind of come down here and just make sure that my stuff underneath my house is grounded. Tapping this off again, just to darken underneath me. This is just a gray I've made. Now I can certainly pull some extra colors into my foreground and my background. And with that, I just might grab a little bit of a brown. Let's find us a brown. True, I did. So I just picked up some espresso. I'm going to pick up a little bit of a skinnier brush in the espresso. And I'm just going to make sure that, oops, I don't know where that came from. Let's rinse that off. A little bit of the espresso. And we're going to just make sure some of these under here, there's some little bits of grassy things that make sense for it all to pull together, okay? That ghost is so fun sitting in front of this little haunted house. At this point, I'm still not finding my other one, but that's okay. We have 1, 2. Let's go on forth. Oh, I see it. Whoever said it, look at that. Look at that. There's 2 more. Let's do this one to be. So we've done 1, 2, 3. We're going to do this guy, but let's make him a little more wintry and just do a little bit of a tap tree. And for the tap tree, I'm just going to do a little darker green. Now we have a lot of stencils that you could just grab to do a tree with. I love to hand paint, so we're going to just go ahead and show you how one of the ways I would do a tap tree would be. And a tap tree, your tool is going to be a flat brush. It's a flat brush, okay? And you're going to want one that has a nice flat chisel. See that skinny part of your brush? That's your chisel of your brush. Let me show you this again. So if I take this brush and I've wet it, and here's my darker green, see how I push? And I turn my brush over and I push again. I have a lot of paint on there, but I have a really, really sharp chisel edge. I'm actually going to pull out a little more white paint. So I've already got this nice sharp chisel edge. I'm going to put a corner of it, like that, in my brush. I'm still going to push it down. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to push it down again. So I have this white showing up a little stronger on one edge. Okay? And I got to think where he's going to go. He's going to go over here, right? He's going to go about here. So we need a tree that's going to come up about this way. So here you go. So my white is up or toward me or toward the sky, okay? And I'm going to go tap, 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 tap. So I give myself this little line. And I might need to pick up a little more of that white. And I'm going to start going tap, tap, tap. I'm going to turn my brush around so my white is out. And I'm just going to start tapping a little bit of a tree. And I like to kind of give it a shape first. And then go back and fill in its needed body part. So I've got just going to tap it to begin with. Just so I have an idea of what this tree is going to look like. And I can go back and fill it in. And I'm using that green and that white. I'm setting it down and I'm just tapping it out. And I like to turn my brush every so often. Right, left, right, left. I might need to pick up a little more paint as I go, depending on how much it's showing up and how much it's not. Like the white's not showing up a whole lot on this one, but that's okay. I still know that it's there. And this little tap tree is not difficult to do. It's just kind of you fill it in and you just tap it out until you're happy with how full it is. Isn't that a fun tree? My little tap tree. And it's fine to go back over it and fill it out wherever you want. Like as I turn it around, because I was looking towards you guys, I'm going, that kind of lost its shape. Let's go up and just make it a little straighter. A little hole there. But there we go. We got a nice little tap tree, right? So I'm going to rinse my brush out, set it aside. Because this was done with more paint on it than when we do stenciling, we're going to want to give it a quick blow dry. Now, if I had stenciled this tree, it would be dry already. But tapping has a little more paint going on in it, so let's try this. Yes, Kippy, you can do that. Anybody can do that. And if you need to practice, just double load a brush, put one color on one side, another color on the other side, and just practice tapping. That is how you learn to be able to do this. And whether you want to be tapping in a tree shape or maybe it's like in a garland shape, maybe it's easier for you to just think of little sprigs. The best way to learn it is just to practice, okay? So I made him, he should be good and dry. I'm going to pull off this tin soldier. And we're going to overlay him a bit, right about there, okay? This is why I dried it. We always want to make our surface dry. I'm going to apply him. Oops. Well, not oops. It's coming off very easily. So we know it's on there, but let's just make sure everything is there. Sometimes, I'm going to show you a good example. Can you see right here how dark that looks in comparison to what's around it? It just means that it has not adhered to the surface below it. So you really just need to go back and add a little more. It could be because right underneath it is a little wetter than everything. I think it just needed a little extra help because there, voila, voila, there it is. We're not quite done with this little piece because we want to come back with a little bit of paintbrush, and we're just going to make our area. Oops, what was that? There was black in there. We did not want that. That was not planned. This is a boo-boo. We're going to take clear water. Here we go. Let me show you guys. I'm on watercolor paper. I'm just taking clear water, and I'm picking up as much of that as I can. Okay? There are no mistakes. There are only design changes. So we are just creating a little more shadow over here than we ever planned on. It's okay. A little more water. It's okay. We're working with acrylic paint, so there's no wrong. I'm coming back with white. We might have to come back over this, but I'm just going to put some white underneath here as the idea that we have snow underneath our guy, okay? Snow with a little bit of shading over here. So that's all I've done. I want to do something a little more on this particular background. I'm going to pick up a dry brush. So this brush can be a scruffy brush I have. It could even be a stencil brush. So this is just a regular stencil brush, and I'm going to add a little water to it. I'm going to go into my white. I've added a little bit of white to it. I'm going to grab my paper towel. I'm going to take off the extra water, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to go and I'm going to spatter this a little bit so I can see little flecks of snow over my tin soldier into my grass. And that's going to be that picture that's going to go in my frame. Okay? Set that down. I believe we should have one more. We do. This was another one of the blue ones we did. We are merely going to add our patriotic flowers. I've taken this off. We're going to lay this down with the idea that that mason jar is going to be on a surface. We're going to lay it down. We're going to burnish it into our paper. Remember, I'm just using watercolor paper, guys. I'm doing several projects that we're going to put behind a frame so you could give somebody or yourself a multi-seasonal project that all they have to do is change the picture behind it. So for this one, this has come off pretty much all on its own. Yeah, we've got these beautiful florals inside the mason jar. And all I'm going to do is pick up a little bit of a brown color. I have espresso sitting here. Perfect. It really would not matter. It could be a brown. It could be a more of a grayish color. It could even be a green. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit out of the cap of this. I'm going to take most of it off to the side on my paper plate. And I'm just going to come over here and think about that this is sitting on more like a table. So just dry brushing a little bit of color underneath it. Okay. Now let me give you a quick view of what this is going to look like. So this is the frame that I purchased. It's going to come with glass. It's going to come with glass that doesn't have paint on it. Oh, gracious. Hang on one sec. I put paint on this frame. You're going to have to give me a little bit of grace here because it won't look like this when you actually do this. But let me put this in here. So you've got your glass and your frame. And you've got your 4th of July flowers. Right? After the 4th of July, it might be time to do a spooky scene. After your spooky scene, perhaps it's time to show off something a little more Christmas wintry. And after that, it might be time to start thinking about something a little more spring. So how fun that you could put all 4 of these under the picture, here's the little thing that goes in the back. You could attach this, and they could all go in there. And after each season, they could take out this one and change it off with this one, and so on, so that there would be 4 different pictures that you could be giving them for a fun little gift that they get to use year round. Okay, let me put this one back in there too, just to give you. How fun is that? So all you really need for this is a frame, and your frame can come from anywhere. I'm just telling you that this particular frame came from that dollar something place that we all seem to love. Watercolor paper cut in the size that you need. So this one happens to be a 5x7, but you can also use other sizes as well. And it could be something as simple as a very simple square or rectangle frame as well. It doesn't have to be a specialty size, specially shaped frame. What do you think? Something fun to do? Oh, they love the frame idea. Thank you. So, and I just showed you several different transfers that Essential Stencil has. And you know, when you get our transfers, you have so many options within them to use. So that was just fun. Oh my goodness. The one I want to show you next is over on the other side. And I'm going to have to go run and get it. So last week, if you happen to be following me, we did a frame for football. We did Fall is for Football. And I love to do two-sided projects. Two-sided projects seem to be very popular where I'm at. And so this is the one we did last week, which is Fall is for Football. I needed to give it a quick coat of varnish because we're going to do something on the other side, and I want to make sure it's protected. So I'm going to turn it over to this side. This is my wire I put in here, but we're going to deal with that as well. Sorry, guys, I didn't even think that I had to get up and get that. And this is a faux slatted sign, and I'm probably going to grab a sponge here. And I want this to be that dark blue to get a little lighter, okay? So one of my very favorite dark blues is Prussian blue. And I think I'm going to do Prussian blue and just let it get a little lighter as I go. So with that, I'm probably going to need a little white. Grab me a little white. I'm probably not going to go different shades of blue, just the main blue, and it's just going to be a little lighter so that we kind of have that snow idea. Okay. So with that, this is MDF, and I always love that MDF gets a little something something first. I'm grabbing one of my household sponges, and I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can kind of get this blue primarily on everywhere. I'm going to work around my little wire. The wire's already on there for the other side that says Fall is for Football. So this is just smearing the paint. I could do this with a brush too. Just using a sponge tends to be pretty quick. And I'm going to go ahead and get it down most of the way. A little more paint. I will go back after this, guys, and look at your comments after I clean my brushes, clean my stencils, clean, all those things. So let me just get a little bit of paint all the way on here. That helps me if I'm going to be using a sponge, especially when I'm blending color, because something like MDF likes to suck up paint a little differently. Or maybe the better way to say that is inconsistently. And you really should put gloves on when you're doing this. I'm not. Okay, so we just kind of have the idea that we've got a little bit of color all the way here to begin with. I want this to be a darker blue and get lighter. Prussian blue is a beautiful, beautiful dark blue. If you want something that's a little more toward your black blue, use something like Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is another good option. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little more of this on here. I'm going to put the whites already out of my palette. I know I want it to be pretty dark. Oops. Up here to begin with. So we'll let this just be dark. I'm trying to work around the little wire. I should have taken it off. Shame on me. Okay. And I'm just going to let this blue work down until maybe about halfway. Get a little more blue. And then I'm going to pick up a little white. But I need a little more blue to begin with. This is just the Prussian blue at this point. You do need to be a little careful in the gaps here, because I think I've done those more to match the other side. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white so it gets a little lighter. Back and forth, back and forth. That's why I'm blending this, so it looks like we've gone from dark to lighter, going all the way across, back and forth, picking up a little more white. Again, I'm going all the way to the edge. I'm going to pick up a little more white. And again, I'm going all the way to my edges. Might need just a touch more white at the very bottom. So I want this to be a nice bit of a blend from lighter blue to a darker blue, but I certainly want those edges to blend in. And I certainly look like I've been painting. If you have edges, places that aren't blending very well with your sponge, you can always pick up a bit of a brush and add a little bit of water, and that will really help your colors flow together. And if you need if there's a spot that seems like it's gotten too white and you will need to blend it back into that Prussian, just pick up a little straight Prussian blue on your brush and just keep blending them back and forth until you have a nice variation up and down. Now you certainly at this point could be adding a little bit of metallic paint if you wanted. I think I'm going to leave it, although you know what? I said that and then I just changed my mind. I'm going to put a little glitter paint out. Come on. And I've still got that blue on my brush. I'm picking up a little bit of that glitter paint, and I'm just going to here and there hit this glitter paint on the top part of my painting. Here and there. Doesn't have to be everywhere. I'm going to go all the way down. Pick up a little bit of glitter. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I'm probably going to be adding a little more in the end. All right, so I'm using the stencil. All is calm. And the stencil all is calm is all is calm, all is bright. It also has Oh Come All Ye Faithful, and it has these trees. I do need to hit this with just a quick burst of heat to dry this. I do love a sponge. You kind of see those really shiny spots. Those are the ones that are a little wetter. So we're going to go ahead and hit those. So I don't know if you realize this, but this is the back side of what we did last week, which was Fall is for Football. It is sparkly, isn't it? You can always tell if it's still wet when the glitter comes off on your hand. All right, I've grabbed the tree part of this project, and I'm going to set it down about there. So remember, this is a faux palette background. Now we've got those trees there, and I've got white out. I'm going to grab a pretty good size brush. This is just one of our regular stencil brushes. Let's do this one. Oops, okay. Our stencil brushes are great. I want these trees to be pretty faint, okay? So here's my offloading. I'm picking my brush. Here goes my brush. I'm taking most of it off, okay? I'm going to line these trees up so they kind of look like they're in the middle. I'm not wanting these to be super dark. I want this to be kind of a very soft tree in our background. So I'm not worried that they're super white. I'm trying to hang on to them. These stencils are gorgeous, but because we have a lot of opening here, we also need to kind of hang on to our edges so they don't like move too much on us. Here's my middle one. I'm going to get this one in here first. Remember, I'm not doing this super dark. Just to give you an idea, I want this to be a little more, just almost like a silhouette shadow of these trees. So I'm not hoping that these are super dark, but I am hanging on to the edges of these because they have some skinny edges. I just drop things as she did. Okay. Give a little more white. Still offloading whenever I pick up my brush. I am always going back and offloading so I don't have too much paint. And I'm using a nice soft touch. That's even still too much paint. Moving my edges in so there's a little more paint on my outer edges. Okay, I'm going to lift this off. So I have the silhouettes of those trees. I think what I'm going to do is come over here and scooch this just a touch this way. And I'm going to go ahead and add the smaller tree on this side, just so those trees go all the way across. Again, I'm loading my brush off camera. I'm taking most of it off on an offload, so that I can come in here and add the smaller tree on this side and play on each side so it's a little lighter in the center. The bridges on these are really pretty strong. When you're going to clean these, I strongly suggest, one, you clean them very quickly after you've used them. And also, I do like using something like the Dawn Power. It seems to really work well on something like these. I'm using the taller tree on the other side. Again, where I can, I'm going to pull from the outside of the tree in. And part of the tree's gone because it's too big. It's okay. Here we go. Pulling this one in. A little more paint, a little more offload. A little more offload. Okay. So you've got now 5 trees on here. I'm going to pick up a little more white paint. Crash, bang, boom. And we're going to just lay in some very rough idea of some snow underneath them. Okay. So we've added the background, we've added the trees, and now we're going to add some words for these, okay? So I need to pick up my project that I dropped on the floor. I'm not even sure where the glass went at this point. Here it is. Put this aside. Right here. And I'm going to use all is calm, all is bright. Either of these would work, but I'm going to work within the faux planks that I have. So I'm going to do all is calm. Right there. All is calm. I think I want all is calm to be right about there. Just bringing this in. We're going to dip a little bit into the next words. We're going to make this as straight as possible. All is calm. And I'm going to do this in silver paint. I'm going to do this in silver paint. Not sure where the silver paint went, but we're going to find it. I have a big bottle of silver paint. I wanted to do silver because it would show up a little more than, here we go, silver, so more than the white. So here we go. I'm going to go a little silver paint on there. I'm going to grab, Mavic.
You've like shifted your camera. Can't see what you're doing.
Oops, sorry. We got it?
Yep.
It looked okay on my end. I apologize, guys. So right now I've just laid down all is calm. And I'm going to pick up the silver paint. I'm offloading the silver paint. This is the silver metallic paint. And I'm going to do all is calm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. 754.
A little more paint. It's good to have somebody who's watching your back upstairs. We'll add this little star and this little star up here. This one too. So we get all is calm. Just move all is bright, just down a little bit. Right about there. Again, picking up my silver paint, checking it off this side. Silver. Remember, we're going to have 3 winners really soon at the end of our live. If you are a winner tonight, please make sure you email support@essentialstencil.com and they will get an email, or I'm sorry, a gift card for $20 off to you just as soon as they can. It's not instantaneous, so give them a little tiny bit of time. They need to double check things, just like we all do. My dogs are fighting. Lovely. Let's see what we have. Oh, the all is bright is hard to see, so what I might do, all is calm, all is bright. So I'm going to go back like I was going to shade all is bright again, and I'm going to drop it down just a tiny touch. I'm going to move it just a tiny touch to the left, okay? And I'm going to really, really clean out the silver off my brush. And I'm going to pick up something dark. What am I going to pick up? I don't think I want to pick up the blue. Actually, what I think I'm going to pick up is, that's not it. Hang on one quick second. I'm having a thought. I might pick up, this is a color called Payne's Gray. I think that might show up okay. We're going to give it a try, okay? Just the idea that silver wasn't showing up enough, I think I need something darker. And Payne's Gray is like this really, really dark blue gray. So we're going to see if this is going to show up. So I pick this up. We're going to go ahead and give it a quick try here. I might even peek before I go too far. And I think that's going to work just fine. So this, I added Payne's Gray, which is a much darker color. We're going to go and do this with alls too. Sometimes you just don't know until you do it, and so that's okay. That's why you have ambassadors. They get to play with things, so you get to know what's going to work and sometimes what you need to avoid. I so appreciate you being here on my Thursday evenings when I get to spend time on Essential Stencil. We invite you to follow us over on Shears to Creativity, where most of the time we do some fun things or learning things. Let me just make sure I've got all this on here before I lift it off completely. All is calm, all is bright. I think we're going to be good. I might want to give this just a super quick dry so I can give that one more coat. I think not knowing what you don't know sometimes means you need to improvise. Hang on. Hang on. This is Mary's first time here. Let's all tell her welcome. It is a great community to find all sorts of fun inspiration. And hopefully at times you learn that the ambassadors certainly don't know it all. We all just are trying our best to give you some inspiration along the way. And what we plan doesn't always work exactly as we thought it was going to. But we are always happy to give you our take on what it takes to create a project that you, too, can go back and recreate. Okay. So I've just given this another quick coat of the darker color called that Payne's Gray. And I'm quite pleased with how that looks. I think that looks really cool. And what we did last week was the football side, and here is this side. So I did get a little blue paint on that, but thank goodness I've already varnished the other side, so it will come right off for me once I get done here. All right, I'm going to tip you up. I'm going to pull my iPad closer to me so I can look and see who our winners might be tonight, and just show you super quickly. Where did I put that? It's over here. So we took a Dollar Tree frame, like such. Oops, like such. This is the frame. Had a nice little arch. And we created a lovely spring idea. Where's my battery? Says it's low. Why is it telling me that? A spring idea. Plugged in.
think it's your iPad that's on, not the camera.
Okay. We did something for Halloween. Whoops. I think we can leave the glass off for a moment. A patriotic floral and a lovely soldier for Christmas. So somewhere you can do 4 seasons or four holidays in one, okay? And then we also did the second side of our football round, and it says all is calm, all is bright with the trees. All right, I am looking for winners. Eleanor Wilson, Kim Hearn, Kathy Feltz. Congratulations, ladies. Please email support@essentialstencil.com, and they'll get that $20 gift card off to you just as soon as you can. Please follow us over on Cheers to Creativity, and we look forward to seeing you next week here on Essential Stencil. Have a great evening. Cheers.